Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. On today's show, Gerrit Cole didn't get his act together, and the bullpen had to bail him out after the shortest outing of his career. One of those guys who helped Cole was Clarke Schmidt, and he had a special night. The Yankees' woes with runners in scoring position continue, and some players are looking awful at the plate so far this season. And Abbey is back with Yankee Stadium food rankings. All that and more next on Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, Yankees fans. Welcome to Locked On Yankees. Happy 420, especially if you're in New Jersey. It's a great day for you. I'm your host, Stacey Gotsoulias, and I'm joined by my co-host, Abbey Mastracco. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Yankees, all one word. You can listen to us on every podcasting platform available, including Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube, and when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Yankees. Abbey, welcome back. You've been missed. I've missed you.
I was in Boston last week working on a Bruins story. It was opening day at Fenway, and I considered going. There was a couple of my hockey friends were going, but I just had too much other hockey work, and so I was in Boston, and I went in full fat kid mode because I did the Yankee Stadium food tasting early last week, and then I went to Boston and I ate Italian food because obviously, Mastracco. I stayed in the North End. The TD Garden is right near the North End.
Yep.
Mike's Pastry, obviously. I had to get cannoli.
I was going to ask you if you went to Mike's.
My two favorites are the amaretto and the pistachio.
Oh, the pistachio, yes.
When I was little, my grandpa, on my dad's side, the Italian one, used to put birthday candles in cannolis for my brother and I instead of birthday cake. I'm not sure how my mom felt about that because she'd make cute little cupcakes or things like that. And then my grandpa would come with cannoli and upstage everything. And you got to blow the candles out real quick because they don't stay in the cannoli cream the way they stay in a cake. I don't know how my mom felt about that, but I love cannoli. Yeah. So I had pizza, pasta, and then I had Peruvian food one night. My roommate is from Boston, and she suggested a Peruvian restaurant in Cambridge near Harvard, and it was phenomenal. I love ceviche. Leche de tigre is amazing. Just about wherever there's a lot of really good Peruvian food in New Jersey. Actually, I used to go try restaurants when I was covering the Devils, but this one in Boston. If you're in Boston for a Yankees Red Sox series or game, definitely go check out couple of these places. I'm happy to give you food recommendations. I love talking about food.
Yeah. Later in the show, Abby's going to tell us about food selection at Yankee Stadium.
I've been waiting. For this.
I've been waiting. I'm very excited about this. So the first thing we'll talk about today, we have to, and Abbey and I were actually exchanging emails last night after Gerrit Cole's aborted appearance after 1 2/3 innings last night. My God.
You can phrase it better.
Sorry. Shortened? Quick?
Disastrous?
Disastrous, because he started off okay, and then there was a bit of a layover there. But it was, first of all, it was the shortest outing of her career. Most pitches in that inning, and he didn't even get to 3 outs. He only had 2 outs, 48. That was a career high. 4 walks, also a career high for an inning. Just a disaster. And then what made it worse, or seemed to, after the game, he's giving this downtrodden interview. And because the Yankees won, they're blasting hip-hop music in the background while the scrum is surrounding him, and he's trying to talk about his appearance, and you can tell that he's really bummed, which is what you want to see when a pitcher has a bad outing like that. You want to see him upset about it, and you want to see him try and figure out what the hell is
Yeah.
wrong with him, But just the juxtaposition between the happiness from his teammates because of the music and him being so sad, I couldn't help but laugh at it just because of how goofy it looked. But
Well, I was watching the Yankee game on my iPad I was covering Islanders Panthers last night because I wanted to see if the Panthers could win their 11th straight game, which they did. That team is remarkable. I don't know what our friends at Locked On Bets are saying about the Florida Panthers, but bet on the Panthers in the playoffs. So I had the Yankee game on my iPad in the press box, and I was watching Twitter, and I was just sort of like, I don't know, maybe it was one of those nights where I was like too online, and I was like, man, Yankee fans like must be going through it if they've got like Mets fan friends on Twitter, because everybody was talking about Max Scherzer's start, like everyone's predicting him. I saw so many Mets fans who were like, don't say no hitter, don't say no hitter. And, he did get pulled at some point. It was not a no hitter, but, and then Gio Urshela, was it Gary
Sanchez drove him in, yes.
Gio Urshela, and I was like, Yankees fans should just not be on Twitter tonight.
Right.
I felt so bad. I was like, they must really be going through it. And
but they won. That's the funny thing about it.
Okay, but I have to read the lead from Eric Boland's game story from Newsday. Because this is like, and if you know Boland at all, and like if you follow him on Twitter, even like I know him a little bit personally, but just following him on Twitter, I love him because he's so salty.
Yes.
He's so salty. He takes no shit from fans. And I appreciate that as somebody who's pretty salty myself.
Right.
It was really cold and there was like snow flurries in Detroit. It was just not a great night. Yeah, even though the Yankees won. A flurry of mutual ineptitude swirled together on a frigid and windy Tuesday night at Comerica Park to make for an astoundingly bad baseball game. And it was the Yankees who were just a little bit less bad than the Tigers in a 4-2 victory. That's very evocative, Boland. You put me, a great writer puts you right in the scene. Yeah. I felt like I was in Detroit watching bad baseball in bad weather.
Yeah, it was. And I even said it in my post-game video last night because they have us do the Locked On Nows. And I said, the Yankees won this game, but it was terrible. And it was awful to watch. And in a couple of my takes that I didn't put up, it took me like 50 takes to get through it. I at one point called Aaron Judge Alan Judge. I'm like, what is going on with my brain? But sometimes I said,
it's just like you watch these games and you're like, neither one of these teams deserves to win.
No.
Neither one of these teams deserves to win. A few years ago, I was covering the Mets in Milwaukee, and they played 18 innings. Mm-hmm. And there was I don't know, I think he might have been like an intern or he was like a younger kid who was like real excited to have a credential and be covering the game. And he was like, man, that game was so good. They had to play it twice. And there was a few of us who were like, what are you talking about? That was awful. That was a terrible game. Oh my God, stop it. All of us just veteran baseball writers. I'm not even that much of a veteran, but all these beat writers who are just like, we have an early flight tomorrow, this is going to be a debacle. This game was awful. There was 8 errors between the two teams. And it was so bad. And this poor kid who's he's so jazzed on being there, covering the game as a credentialed member of the media. And we're like, this was awful. This was terrible. This was bad baseball. I don't want to watch baseball when I watch stuff like this. What are you talking about? I still feel bad about that moment. I didn't ruin it for him. Yeah. But there was a few other writers who were just as salty as me who were like, shut up, kid.
Right.
We're tired.
Yeah, because I joked in the one outtake. I said, I really hope. I said, because, I know not everyone watches baseball every single night. And I really hope that this was not your first Yankee game of the season. Because
not indicative of, but you know what? There's been some ugly baseball early this season, which we kind of knew was going to happen because of the shortened spring training. And there's injuries to a lot of key guys right now. So for those who are panicking about Gerrit Cole and some guys who are having a tough time at the plate, it is too early to panic.
Right.
The nature of this strange season is we're seeing it play out in real time, or the effects of the lockouts. Yeah. We're seeing this play out in real time, and it's going to correct itself. Sure. It will. But such a short spring training, there were a lot of teams probably didn't do as many infield drills or PFP that they usually do in spring training. So we're going to see some sloppy baseball, and especially with the weather right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice today in New York, but man, I was walking out of this the LIRR station at Atlantic Terminal yesterday, walking over to the subway to go home, and I felt like the wind was about to blow me over. And it's even worse in Detroit right now. So
Yeah.
between the unpredictable April-May weather and the shortened spring training and the weird off season, there's gonna be some really ugly baseball
Oh,
games.
yeah.
We just have to let them ride out this weird stretch and correct themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In a moment, we'll
Baseball gets
continue
better.
with more talk about this game because other than Gerrit Cole and other than the inept offense, we have some pitching performances that were actually good to talk about. But first, whether she prefers a statement piece or everyday subtle elegance, BlueNile.com has fine jewelry options for every mom. Shop high-quality classic diamond earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, or gemstone pendant necklaces. Celebrating the special women in your life on BlueNile.com, you can easily navigate thousands of fine jewelry options at every price point. Blue Nile is the original online jeweler. Since 1999, they've helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring and are committed to ensuring that the highest ethical standards are observed when sourcing diamonds and jewelry. When you commit to a piece, so does Blue Nile, with guaranteed service and repair for life. And if you're not satisfied, no problem. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, so you can shop stress-free with guaranteed free shipping and returns. So this Mother's Day, give your mom something special she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Yankees listeners get $50 off a $500 purchase. This podcast exclusive is good only through Mother's Day. Use code LOCKEDON. That's code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. For your next listen, check out Locked On Now. Recaps of every MLB game with analysis from our local experts, so you'll hear about everything from all over the league. We'll take you through the season like no other network. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So, once Cole left the game, Clarke Schmidt had to come in and clean up his mess, and clean up his mess he did. And not only that, he earned his first win. He struck out 6 in 3 1/3 innings, and he held down the fort, set the table for the rest of the bullpen to shut down the also inept Tigers, because they're just about as inept at the plate as the Yankees were last night. I was happy for Clarke Schmidt because of, coming back from his injury and, being one of the last guys to make the roster along with Sears and Marinaccio. So that was exciting for him. And for him to come in and do what he did to save Cole and, the rest of the bullpen coming in and doing what they did, that was a nice moment for Schmidt.
Schmidt's been sort of one of the guys that the Yankees have been waiting for him to pop for a little while now. He was drafted in 2017, and he was part of that. He was supposed to be part of the rise of the baby bombers, Yeah. And it's taken him a little while, but he battled some injuries. We're starting to see him come into his own here, and he could potentially be a really nice bullpen piece.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of the rest of the bullpen, you had Schmidt come in for 3 1/3. Wandy Peralta pitched an inning and a third. Clay Holmes, 2/3 of an inning. Miguel Castro an inning. Chapman an inning. And they were all pretty much uneventful, not scary, which was nice for Chapman after the last 2 outings that he had. I was slightly worried when the Yankees were only leading 3-2. Then DJ LeMahieu finally got a hit. Not him finally getting a hit with runners in scoring position, but the Yankees. They were 1 for 13. They left 11 on base last night. And the good sign from DJ, opposite field. And it looked more like DJ of 2019 and 2020 in that at-bat, which is good to see. So the insurance run helped, and then Chapman came out and did really well. So, it was an ugly game. It was a slog. It was just it was so long because of everything that happened in that first inning with, by the time the Tigers made it to the second inning, they were on their third pitcher. It was such an ugly game. So the Yankees win. I think aren't they in first? They're like in a share of first place because the rest of the AL East
is too early to look at the standings. You can't.
No, I know, but like with the way people are reacting to, I know, but the way the people are reacting to it, you would think the Yankees are like 10 games out already, and it's just. It's hilarious.
Baseball fans, it is too early to look at the standings.
Yeah, don't even bother.
At the standing. Memorial Day is the day that Memorial Day weekend. That's around the time you can. Past Memorial Day is when you like the standings actually matter.
Right.
You can start glancing here and there, but like Memorial Day weekend is when they really start to matter. Past Memorial Day is when you can panic.
Right. Although sometimes there have been years where, it takes the Yankees until close to the All-Star break to kick in. And I spoke about this on Monday's show.
Yeah. Last year they really had trouble at the plate first half of the year.
Yeah. I would just like, and I've said this a couple times, I would like for them to get into gear, kick things into gear, but stay that way, not do this up and down thing that they've been doing the last couple of seasons. No, I don't want that. So, but after Memorial Day, you can look at the standings. Around the All-Star break is when you can panic if the Yankees aren't doing well. Yeah, it's, but let's talk about briefly guys who aren't looking good at the plate. Joey Gallo looked completely lost last night, and I felt really bad for him. You could see him in the dugout after his fourth strikeout. He just looked like he didn't want to be there. He looks like he's two in his head. And it looks like the weight of the world is on his shoulders right now. And it really shouldn't be because
this is what happened to him last year when he got traded, and he felt a lot of pressure to make a big impression. I know that I've talked about this. The first time I saw him at Yankee Stadium last year after the trade, he was in the batting cages talking to himself. And it was Susan Waldman who was like, oh, he's just the nicest guy. And he really feels so much pressure right now. Yeah. He's just pressing so hard. Look at how, like Susan was pointing it out, look at how tight he's gripping the bat just in the cage, taking BP.
Yeah.
The way he was talking to himself, even coming around behind the cage to watch other guys hit, talking to himself the whole time. He's such a nice guy and he's like such a good teammate, but there really is, he wants to have that like signature Yankee moment, which he did have a few times last year. He made a couple really good defensive plays to keep the Yankees in it during a playoff race.
Yeah.
It's tough to be able to like come out of the gate hot right away. I mean, yeah, some people do it, but like you're kind of forgiven this year if you're not.
What you said in the last segment.
Yeah.
The shortened spring training, you can't expect any of these guys really to look good. I mean, some of them will, because some players just get into it and they start doing things. I mean, Aaron Judge, yes, I didn't say Alan Judge that time. Aaron Judge only has 1 RBI. He looked not so great at the plate last night, struck out 3 times. So you can't, I mean, people are already talking about how this was the worst trade ever. They should get rid of Gallo, and it's too soon.
He's a good defender, though. I mean, they do need outfield defense.
Yes. And I feel like the hitting will come around. He's always going to strike out. He's that kind of a player. But I feel like the hitting will come.
True outcomes player.
Yes. But people are really too hard on him too soon. It's too soon. It's just too soon. You can't get rid of him. It's too soon.
In his career, his April-March OBP, like batting average, on base, like he's had pretty good OPS in April, but like his April numbers are not great. They're fine.
Right. Because some guys do need that first month to get going.
Oh, wow. He's had some really bad Julys. Now that I'm looking at the splits.
See, that's odd.
Career batting average in the month of July is 167.
That's so odd because July, usually, I feel like July is the month where a lot of guys set their career highs in home runs in a month because that's when the weather is really and truly finally just hot all the way through and balls are flying, baseballs are flying, and it always seems like that's the month when guys really get into hitting. So that's very strange. Wow.
Well, you can have like sort of that hit that mid-season wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean,
otherwise, like his April numbers are fine. Like he has more RBI. He's been pretty consistent in the months of May, June, and August. That they're fine.
Yeah.
He's not a traditionally slow starter, but he's not a traditionally hot starter either.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Yankees are searching for answers for a lot of guys right now. I mean, Gerrit Cole he's not supposed to be pitching like this, and he's going to face a lot of questions given the nature of the sticky stuff, stuff that happened last year, that narrative. He's going to face a lot of uncomfortable questions. Gallo's going to face a lot of uncomfortable questions as well, because that's what happens when you're in New York. You've got 50 guys lining up at your locker. 50 people, I should not say that, because there are lots of women in these scrums too. I'm one of them sometimes. I should not discount myself like that. But you've got a bunch of people lining up outside your locker wanting to know why you're not hitting.
Yeah.
And the hitting coaches can sometimes, answer for you, take some of the heat off of you. And the hitting coaches can offer some insights as well. But, it
almost feels like Gallo got away with his performance last night because Cole was so bad.
I don't know. I did see a lot of people on Twitter who were, and I saw some.
Writing wise. I mean, like the game story wise. I mean, there was mention of it, but I feel like everyone was focused on how bad Cole was. Fan wise, no, everyone was focusing on. A lot of people were focusing on poor Gallo.
I think the thing is, though, is that because nobody expects, he doesn't hit for average, right?
Right.
He doesn't hit for average. I think the thing is that if he's not going to be producing, I mean, he has no RBIs, that he needs to be. I think everyone just expects him to hit home runs.
Yeah.
If he's not putting the ball in play, he's got 4 hits, but I think everybody just expects him to be hitting home runs.
Well, he's sitting tonight. I'm looking at the lineup right now. Actually, let's quickly do that, and then we'll get to your food rankings, because we have to talk about that, because I need to know about that. But let's go. Lineup, just quickly. Hicks, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, LeMahieu, Donaldson, Torres, Kiner-Falefa, Kyle Higashioka, and Josh Donaldson is DHing. Stanton's playing right, Judge is playing center, Hicks is playing left. Interesting. Okay, so in a moment, we'll get to the food rankings. Very excited about this. But first, we have to talk about Built Bar and their puffs. Because if you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs, you're missing out on one of the best tasting bars that Built Bar's ever made. They're a protein-infused marshmallow. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% chocolate. Try the churro flavor if you can. It's the best one out there. They also have coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. All Built Bars, Puffs and regular Built Bars, are covered in 100% chocolate. And if you go to Built.com, scroll down to the macros chart, you'll be blown away by their stats. The flavors, coconut almond, my favorite mint brownie, raspberry. There's so many to choose from. And at Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make them taste delicious first, then they figure out how to make them healthy. And I have no idea how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. So go to Built.com, use our promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Again, that's LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Here we go. I'm so excited. Abby went to Yankee Stadium to try out food items, newer ones, right? Like the ones
newer
that
ones. So a lot of them were actually added last season, but with fans sort of making a gradual return last year, it was difficult for them to promote a lot of the new items. Mm-hmm. And they do have a couple new partnerships this year, one of which is with Marcus Samuelsson. If you've never heard of him, he owns Red Rooster in Harlem. There's a couple other places too. He has a restaurant in Newark that I used to go to a lot, and their whole thing is like they pull from a community garden, so it's sustainable. So here's my rankings. The City Winery burrata burger was the best thing that I had that day. Like, that burger is fantastic. It had burrata, and it had it had pesto like grilled onto the bun.
Ooh.
Let me pull up they did give us like a full menu.
Okay. That sounds really good.
Brioche bun with pesto. Cabernet Sauvignon, balsamic reduction, burrata, and arugula. And it was so good. It was like perfect. And I had another burger too. I had the bacon crunch burger from Bobby Flay, which was good, but it was like further down on my list just because there's so much other like good things there. My second favorite was the King's Hawaiian beef bulgogi slider. That one is a limited edition item. So go get that. Well, you can. It had some pickled onions and I love beef bulgogi. There was a couple people there who were like, they kind of got that one a little bit later because there was so many interesting things, but like a bunch of us agreed like that's got to be like that's in the top 5. It's good if you enjoy beef bulgogi. Get it while you can. The sumo tots, so they're tater tots with I have my menu right here. They were tater tots with beef chili, togarashi cheese sauce, spicy mayo, teriyaki sauce, wasabi furikake, pickled peppers, jalapenos, and kizami nori. They were so good.
I'm actually drooling. Good Lord.
That togarashi cheese sauce and the pickled vegetables was like it was perfect for like with a crunchy tater tot. I'm a big tater tot fan. Like I'll take tater tot. I love fries, but like
I had tater tots for dinner last week. Just tater tots, a giant plate of them.
If there's an option for tater tots or fries, like I'll probably take the tater tot option. But these were great. They kind of reminded me of like a Japanese animal style fries.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with In-N-Out and animal fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sumo dog, which had wasabi relish, pickled peppers, spicy mayo, teriyaki sauce, wasabi furikake, minced onion, and kizami nori. That goes with the tots if you want to get both. I ate both just to get like the full effect.
Right.
Obviously. It's a dressed up hot dog and it has like the perfect dressings on it. It's the perfect amount of dressed up. So my number 5 on my ranking was the cornbread chicken and waffle. That's part of Marcus Samuelson's Street Bird is what the concession stand is called. It was a cornbread waffle and fried chicken with honey and some hot sauce. Honey. It was honey. And then the hot chicken sandwich, which is also from Street Bird. That had like house-made pickles on it. I'm a big fan of a fried chicken sandwich.
Oh,
this
yeah.
one wasn't super spicy. I was actually expecting it to be a little bit spicier, but I very much enjoyed that. The chicken and waffle and the hot chicken, like I'm going to be hitting that up pretty often at Yankee Stadium. The number 7 was halal, guys. They didn't give us like a full gyro sandwich. What we had was like a little cup with one had falafel, one had I think chicken, one had beef gyro, and some pita with all the halal guys, all your favorites like the white sauce and the hummus. And halal guys at the stadium is pretty nice to have. It's also like one of the healthier options at the stadium.
Yeah.
And it has good vegetarian options. So if you're not going to be getting a burrata burger or beef bulgogi, you can get a falafel, which is always a good option to have.
Yeah.
The next is the bacon crunch burger from Bobby Flay. I like the sauce on that one. It has potato chips on the burger, and they put that one in last year. That replaced one of the burger places. I forget which one. I forget. But I did like that burger. I just liked the burrata burger a lot better. That burrata burger with the balsamic, like the balsamic and the pesto was just perfect. The Grand Slam shake, I probably could have ranked that higher, and that was very controversial. There were some people, I even got a text from a scout who was like, that's one of the best milkshakes I've ever had. It needs to go higher in your rankings. It was good. And they're also now offering oat milk soft serve. That oat milk soft serve was, I couldn't tell that it was dairy free. So for those of you who are lactose intolerant and you still want some soft serve on like a hot day at a baseball game, the Oatly soft serve, I think you're going to be pretty happy with it. And then number 10 on my rankings was the Lobel's steak fries. I was underwhelmed by those. It's number 10 on my ranking, but I feel like it actually deserves to like go lower. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know whether like I got just a bad batch because it just felt like they were lacking seasoning. It was like steak and caramelized onions on top, and then on the bottom, like sort of underneath the fries, was a cheese sauce. which I liked once I mixed it all together, but it just felt like nothing had salt on it. And when you compare that to the sumo tots were so much better.
Yeah.
And because the cheese sauce was on the bottom, some of the fries got a little soggy.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't my favorite. There's also a new Yankees beer. They let us have some beer, so I had a nice breakfast beer.
Nice.
I believe it's called like the Pinstripe Pilsner.
Oh.
It was pretty good. It's like a nice, light, easy drinking beer. Very refreshing for summer. I wouldn't like. I tried every single thing that was there. There was not one thing that I didn't try. And I think that in the past, Yankee Stadium has gotten a reputation for being like, the food is good, but it's not great. Everybody looks to like, Citi Field has Shake Shack. That's the big draw.
Yeah.
But there are better burgers than Shake Shack.
Right.
This Bobby Flay burger with the potato chips, I thought that was kind of better. I thought that was better than a Shake Shack burger. And nothing against, I love Shake Shack.
Yeah.
I thought the potato chips were kind of a nice addition, like gave it a nice crunch. Obviously I'm singing the praises of the burrata burger. The beef bulgogi sliders, though, I'm hoping those stick around for like longer. Like maybe more people will get them and they'll be the Yankees. Their concession people will be convinced that they have to keep the bulgogi sliders.
Maybe we can start a campaign on Twitter. We'll do like a hashtag, tag the Yankees, keep them.
It was, I don't know. I mean, I love Korean food.
Yeah.
But I just, so many people were sort of like walking past the bulgogi and like people had it later and everyone was like, oh wait, no, I got to redo my rankings. That goes up higher. There's a lot of really good options, and there's good options for people with dietary restrictions, which is important. I mean, not everybody has an iron stomach like I do. Like I can eat whatever I want without any sort of like digestive repercussions.
Yeah, I feel really bad for people who are lactose intolerant because I could not imagine. I couldn't. I eat too much dairy and, all that stuff, and that would just be a nightmare.
It's nice to have that option of like having an oat milk soft serve.
Yeah.
And I think they're making I could be wrong, but I think they're making some of the milkshakes with the oat milk soft serve as well. So it's a good option for people who are lactose intolerant. That Halal Guys is a good option for people who are vegetarian, or if you just don't want to eat a heavy burger, or if you just, it's hot out there in the summer, you kind of want something lighter. A burger can feel really heavy on a hot day, and Halal Guys, everyone, I mean, I love Halal Guys. I don't know anybody who doesn't go to halal carts here and there in New York. Like maybe this is just sort of like a regional favorite, because I was telling a couple of my friends in California who went and did I think one of them did the Dodger Stadium tasting. She was like, I guess Mediterranean food would be fine. I was like, what do you mean fine? Like,
how dare you?
Yeah. So maybe it was just more of like a regional thing.
Yeah.
But I like being able to go get a falafel if I want, instead of having fried chicken. There are days where I want to just totally blow my entire calorie allotment, or I want to just go all out and have a good time and eat what I want to eat. But I'm there all the time for work.
Right.
And I'll try and bring a salad with me, because I can't eat ballpark food every day.
Right.
And even the medium meal is not always that healthy. And so I do try, and I work out a lot. I try and eat moderately healthy most of the time, and I can't eat ballpark food every single day. I don't recommend it. It's so having something like Halal Guys it's nice to know that that's there if I'm running late and I don't have time to make lunch or go grab a salad or something. And I'm sure that for baseball fans too, it's the same thing. You're coming from work and you might not want fried chicken that day.
Right.
So you can get a falafel, you can get a chicken gyro, and you can get a little pita and make yourself a sandwich. I believe they do have the pita wraps too. They just didn't give for us to sample. It was a little cup full of gyro and pita and all the good stuff. But I don't think Yankee Stadium gets enough credit for its food.
Right.
They do have some pretty cool options aside from just hot dogs and hamburgers, like there are a lot of good options, and I had a lot of fun at that tasting. I appreciated that the team wanted us to sort of try everything, and there were media opportunities with Marcus Samuelsson too, and I talked to him briefly. I told him I've eaten at his restaurant in Newark a lot, and I haven't eaten at Red Rooster yet. It's like high on my list. Do you keep a list of restaurants?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Red Rooster's always been on my list. But now I'm like, well, I've had all of his fried chicken at other places. I've had it at Yankee Stadium, and I've had it in Newark.
Yeah.
I guess I don't need to go. No, but I still need to go. So Yankee Stadium has some really great food options. Highly, highly recommend. Well, I just told you my recommendations. But if you're not let's say that you have a friend who maybe isn't super into baseball and you've got a couple tickets to the game, like you can sell them on the food.
Yeah.
That's how I get my mom to go to games.
Yeah.
Like we play this game with my mom. She knows nothing about sports, where we're just like, Patty, name one like active athlete in any sport, please. And she can't do it. She'll always say like, Michael Jordan. Like, no, Mom.
Like, no, he's been retired, for like 20 years. No.
Yeah. So we can get her to go to games. My dad and I will get her to go to games because of the food. So
I will say, when they first started putting the calorie counts up, what was it, the mid-2000s?
You got to ignore those.
The first time that I saw, because I used to get chicken fingers and fries all the time. That was my go-to jam after I stopped eating hot dogs all the time, because I was like, okay, that's too salty. I'll do chicken fingers and fries. Like, that's not salty. And I believe it was 1,190 calories. And I was like, oh my God. So then when I would go to games, I would basically starve myself the entire day because I knew I'd eat a salad for lunch, because I knew I was going to the game, and
which is fun too. I mean, I do that all the time. I'll eat pretty light in the morning if I like. There are some games that I go to specifically for work where I'm like, I want ballpark food today. I really want ballpark food today. That's Sumo Dog. That's a great example of sort of like upscale ballpark food. It's a cool hot dog with pickled vegetables and a couple sauces on it. And there's times when you just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to go for it, then you've got Halal Guys as a good option.
Yeah.
Or oat milk soft serve, Oatly. I have Oatly in my coffee right now that I think about it.
So tonight, Luis Severino against Eduardo Rodriguez. Severino is 1-0 on the year with a 2.25 ERA and 11 strikeouts. He's looking really good. Hopefully he will be okay tonight and not tax the bullpen like Gerrit Cole did last night, because that's the last thing the Yankees need when they have 2 more games against the Tigers and 3 more against the Guardians over the weekend. So we'll see how that goes for them. Yeah, so tomorrow's show, we'll obviously recap tonight's game, see what happens, preview Thursday night's matchup, and on Friday we'll preview the series with the Guardians, which is interesting to say.
It's going to take a little while for me to remember that they are, continuously remember they're the Guardians.
Yeah, I keep, in my head, Guardians, because I don't want to screw that up. I'd like to not actually. That's the one thing I don't want to screw up. I know I screw up a lot of different things, and people let me know, but that's the one thing I don't want to screw up. So
I'm going to have to put a Post-it note for myself on this shelf up here, Guardians.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Abby and I would like to remind you that you can listen to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. We passed 1,130 subscribers last night, so thank you for that. That's awesome. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. One more thing, if you can be so kind, please rate the podcast and spread the word about this podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We'd really appreciate it. So enjoy your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.